The very next moment, you will have Akash Roy along with us for his session. Now I'm handing the mic over to Mr. Akash so that he can start off with his presentation.
Yeah, hello everybody. Please let me know if my voice is audible. Yeah. So basically what I planned my session today is that when I was a B.Tech student just like few years back, 1 to 2 years back, one of the most important things that I think that you guys, all of you must be having in your mind is that what to do after you complete your B.Tech. Like there are so many options and it is something like it is totally confusing. I guess most of you will agree that you meet a one person and they tell you that this should be what you can do. You meet some other person, they tell that this is what you can do. So I'll just try to not make you guys believe that one way is better than the other. I want to make you believe that every way you'll have success stories and you'll definitely have failure stories too. So it is up to you to decide as to what method or what way is best for you. But I'll just guide you through all the ways. And for my introduction as to why I think that I will be able to guide you a bit upon all these topics is that I have completed my bachelor's this year itself, 2019, from Heritage Institute of Technology, and I've got 9.51 CGPA in that. So I guess I was up with my studies. But then again, if you think that only studies will make you would get you to different places, you may be right in one aspect, but then you'll miss out on the other aspects. That is, there are several other things that you need to do along with your studies during your B.Tech days, because this is some time that you'll never get back. And in the work field now that currently I'm working, or in any other field that you would be joining, people do not look at what marks you have got or what CGPA that you have received. People look at your personality, people look at your attitude, how you can present, how you showcase yourself in front of others. So I guess all of this you need to get yourselves with in the B.Tech days, because these 4 years are something that is very crucial for your life, and you also need to decide as to what to do. So I'll just start off with my session, and in the meantime, if you guys have any different queries about what you think you should do and what you feel that you have questions regarding your curriculum, you have questions regarding what you want to do in your future, you can definitely write it in the comment section. I would definitely answer all of them. So why should you think of it now? You can think that, right, I'll finish my B.Tech, I'll then think of what to do, and I'll find some way or the other. But it is not like that, because by the time you think that you should think of it, it is too late. Now, most of you, I don't know, like will be somewhere around ranging from first year, second year, third years. I guess fourth years will not be there in this call. But this period, the second year, third year period, this is something in which you need to make most of your decisions. Because be it any higher studies you want to go into, be it any sort of job you want to go into, this is the time you need to think that what you will do and how you want to prepare for it. Now, you people will definitely have some life goal. That is, maybe you've seen some role model, or you want to know that you want to make yourself into some particular personality. You want to make yourself like them. So you have some particular life goals. But then there is the reality. That is, here in India, there is some particular realities that you'll get to know once you enter the work field. And also, I'll just try to explain a bit upon them. So there is your expectation, and then there is a reality. So you need to balance out between them. And then you should think that, am I suitable for this? Am I suitable for anything else? And what I would say is that you should definitely not try to leave one way if you think that if you love that way. Suppose you have a passion towards something, but then don't leave out on that. Maybe in the meanwhile you are doing something else, but I would suggest that you should not leave out on what you think is good for you. So let me first list out all the options that are there after you complete your bachelor's. So definitely number one, the first option that you'll be having is getting a job. Now there are various types of jobs and I'll be describing a bit on them. Next is, as engineering students, you can give the GATE exam. There is the CAT exam that you can give, and there is GRE. There definitely is some other exam called GMAT. And now there are government jobs that you can also enroll yourself for. Now I'll explain each of them in detail as to what is good about them, what is not, and are you a particular suit? Will you be suitable for it, or like are you capable enough to get that? So now for the work or for the job sector, let me start. Now there are different types of jobs that you can get after you pass the B.Tech. One of them, or the one which is the most abundant here, basically in West Bengal, in Kolkata, is the IT sector job. Uh, Now, most of you students would, I guess, we be joining the IT sector. If you go to a job, if you directly go for campus placements, but then there are several of you who are very good in their domain, and then you could secure yourself a job related to the domain that you've been studying. There is sales job, and then there is definitely something like the like teaching. Now all of these are noble jobs, and each of the job has its own place, and we need people in each of the domain, right? So let me go upon each of them. Now I am currently working in an IT sector job. Now, coming from a different stream, coming from a background which is non-IT, if you go into an IT sector stream, you will you may like it, you may not, depending upon whether you like coding or not. But studying for 4 years for one thing and then going into the other thing, that is something that you need to decide on, whether if you have loved coding all the way, if you want to change your domain, you can definitely do so. But that's a compromise that you need to make. Now domain job, now coming into perspective that the domains nowadays, now electrical, electronics, computer science, IT all fall in the IT sector. But suppose you're someone from electronics. Now jobs like electronics job, into electronic sector, these are very limited nowadays. If in our area, in West Bengal especially, you may find that some jobs are there in uh, Bangalore and all, but definitely there is a limitation of that, and the number of companies that are there for those particular domains are very limited. Now, is it possible to get such a job? Definitely, it is possible to get such a job, but the salary that you will receive initially is not as high that you would expect. You'll get something around, if you consider regular domain jobs, you'll get something around 4 to 4.5 lakhs per annum. Now definitely, if you get into very high domain jobs, that is for an electronics company, if you get into Intel, if you get into Texas Instruments and all, now those are extremely rare cases to get after direct B.Tech. But there, if you can get through, you'll get something around 17 to 18 LPA. Now there are sales jobs. Now sales job is something that if you are good in marketing and if you want to get into sales, you can try to do so. Now sales job are also there, but their salary is not much, but you can get into you can get a lot of incentives. And if you're good with people, if you're good with talking people, if you're good with persuading people to do something, well, this may be the good job for you. Now for teaching jobs, right? Now there is a conception that most of the teachers in the university, they are definitely M.Tech or PhD, right? So where can you start your teaching career? If you want to start a teaching career, I would suggest that you should not start after your B.Tech. Now, coming from my side, when I was in my first year itself, I had started teaching. I was giving private tuitions. I had also taught in online courses like an academy. Now I have courses over there also. So you need to make sure that you feel that you are a right candidate for such a job, right? Because if you yourself are not convinced that you can be a good teacher, because teaching can be difficult. People feel that no, you just come to class, you just go on and teach whatever you want, but that's not the case. It is a lot tough and a lot harsher a job than you people feel. So So definitely that's a different aspect that you may try. But yes, if you want to go into a teaching job directly after B.Tech into a good college, I guess that won't be possible directly. If you want to go, you can get into some some lower colleges or something, and thereby you can parallelly complete your master's, PhD, and whatnot. But if you be a teacher, you need to know that you will be into this education field for your whole life. In all the other domains also, you need to learn your whole life. But in this teaching field, you need to like develop yourself regularly, right? So this is our life, our work life aspect. If you have any questions, you can definitely write in the comments. I'll check them out later. uh, Next comes is gate. Now, as most of you know, that this is a very popular option that is among all the engineers nowadays. That is, after my B.Tech, I'll go into gate. Right. Now, what are the aspects of it, and why do you feel that it is a good option for you? No, definitely you can get into the IITs, NITs, the PSUs, that all of you know that. So there are different good points about it. That is, if you can secure a seat out there and get into some IITs, you know that your life is more or less set. That's what you guys think, right? Yes, till some aspect it may be so if you get into very high level IITs like IIT Bombay or Delhi or so. But there are some NITs and all where the percentage of students from M.Tech, those who are getting into very good placements, is not that high that you feel like. Right, maybe in a M.Tech batch of 30 students, there are 5 to 7 students who will be getting very high salaries. And like there'll be other students who will be getting something around 7, 8 LPAs, right? Or maybe 5, 6 LPAs also, depending upon the NIT standard that we are talking about. So it is not always so that we go out there and we feel that uh, we'll be doing very very well after I get a degree from the NITs. Definitely, there's a really good chance of getting so, but there also you need to work real hard for that, right? So like I'm not saying that only this is the place where you need to work real hard. In each of the streams that I was talking about and I will be talking about, you need to work very hard for each of them, right? So next, coming to PSUs. Now, PSUs are the public sector unit jobs, so they offer really good salaries, and it is more or less a secure job that you would say. Now, you will get a lot of incentives, you'll get a lot of different benefits out of this. Uh, but yes, the jobs are challenging. I'm not taking anything away from the job. PSU jobs are definitely something that everybody looks out for. But if you want to have thrill in your life, if you want to work in places where you want to constantly switch jobs, you want to work in new technologies all the time, I guess then this is something that will be a compromise in your life, right? Now coming to the difficulty, right? The gate exam is something where you need to understand the concepts also very well. That's for sure. You need to understand the concepts really really well, and also you need to remember all the formulas. You need to remember everything, the chapter, the people who are giving the gate on each of the streams. I'm not sure about all of the streams, but for electronics we had like 10 subjects. So you need to study all of these 10 subjects all at once and remember all of the formulas, and you need to know how to solve each of them, right? Now it is definitely a way to examine the students, but personally, if you ask me, this is not the best way to examine a student based on just a 1 day paper of all the subjects in your bachelor's level, right? Now, when to start it? When to start this? I would suggest that the best time to start it would be something around my second year, fourth semester, or my third year, first semester, the fifth semester. Fourth semester, fifth semester is the best time that I think it would be to start my preparation. Now, to get into some institute or to study alone, that's absolutely up to you. Uh, but I would suggest that giving mock tests would definitely help in the process, right? Now, who should do it? I've already explained that if you're interested in getting a PSU job, or if you're interested in getting into IITs and NITs, everybody is, I know. But there are people, I guess, who would be interested in doing research over working, or doing research over extra studies. So I guess these would be, so I guess it would not be for you people, right? Now coming to mm, my next option, right? My next option is cat. This is also a very niche option, or some an option which like everybody, most of you will try, right? So the options for cat are also, you can go into IIMs, top MBA colleges, and apart from cat also, there are several other options that are there that you may there are several other examinations also, right? So there are examinations from which you can get into Xavier's, there are examinations you can get into nursing. There are different other examinations out there, right? So why and how can you think that this is a good option for you? Why you need to go into cat? Or do you think that you are a suitable candidate based on your personality or your interests, your life goals, that you should go into cat or not? So after studying 4 years of bachelor's degree, right, you can be of two type of person, right? One who was very interested in studying the particular field that he or she was studying, right? Now, I would not suggest that you go into CAT, because going into CAT and getting a managerial degree would particularly mean that you're putting an end to your technical career mostly, right? Um, and do you think that all your hard work that you have put into these 4 years, and if you like the subject, I'm only talking about people who have loved the subject and you think that you can go or should go into a technical career. Now, I do not think that it would be a good option for you to go into such IIMs. But there are two other types of people. One who have like not like their subject, or maybe like the technical part of it. Now, for them, I would suggest that you could go into jobs. You could maybe study some more and maybe give a gate exam and try to continue in the technical field. And for people who think, and there are people who have been involved in leadership activities, like whenever some event takes place in the college, you take up charge. Whenever something happens, you have a natural instinct of doing things. You have a natural instinct of whenever a group is formed, people almost consider you that you will be the person who will be taking charge of most of the activities. And also there are people, if you are in a group, you would also think that either you or someone in your group is there who you guys rely on most of the times, and that comes almost instantly. So I guess those are the person who should basically mostly target for cat exam. If you think that you are a good leader, if you think you can be uh, capable enough to study for cat and then do the 2 years of hardship, and then I guess if you go from a good IIM or top level MBA college, then it's almost a seal deal for you, right? Now when to start? uh, yeah, so I guess it would be also better off to start when you are in your fifth semester almost, because these exams would be almost held when you're in your seventh semester, right? A CAT preparation for 1.5 years is almost good enough. So when you're starting your fifth semester, if you started, the CAT examination is held almost every year in the time of November end, right? So you'll have almost 1.5 years to complete your studies, right? So you can go into that mode of preparation as well. And should you do it or not, that's what I've already told, and that's only for you to decide, right? So coming into the next point, GR. Now this is a thing which most of the people think of initially, and then there are different disadvantages as well as problems that you guys may face. And so most of the people ultimately, when they finish their bachelors, they back out from this plan, right? Now, being a GRE aspirant, I've given my GRE, I've given my TOEFL, and I've already received admits from universities in US, and I'm planning to go this August. So I can guide you basically on this part. I can definitely guide you on this part, because most of you think that this part is something where very less guidance is there available. Now, after bachelor's, two different things that you can do is you can go for a 2 years MS course, or you can go for something like the PhD course, or as you call it, the integrated PhD course, which is something for 5 years, right? Now, both of them have their added advantages and disadvantages as well. So, coming to an MS course, it's a 2 year course, right? But here, mostly you do not get any funding, right? You have almost no funding. If you go out there and if you can prove yourself, maybe you can get something like a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship out there. From there, you can get some funding. But initially, you would get no funding if you are going for an MS program. But as for a PhD program, PhD programs are like almost 90% of the times funded, right? So the college pays off for your studies. The college even pays you a particular amount of stipend every month for you to live there, for you to like for you to more or less stay there without getting any money from your home, or and in most cases even send back some money to your home, right? So how do you get into an MS, or how do you get into a PhD, or what is there any particular uh, lower limit that I need to be through if I want to get into that, right? So if you want to get into an MS, mostly I would suggest that you need a decent GPA. Something around 8, 8.5 would be good enough for getting into majority of the universities. But if you're aiming for really good universities, I would say something around 9, 9.5 is also very, very good, right? So coming into that, now going into my next one, that is PhD. So apart from the GPA score, there is another thing that you need to work on if you're going for a PhD. You need to work on research papers. You need to approach your professors who are there actively in research. You need to do your research work well. You need to publish papers such that, because in a PhD, it is not the university who is funding you, it is the professor basically who is funding you. So definitely initially you need to impress the professor, right? So the professor will will set up interviews, and they'll ask you questions. They'll mostly in I'll say in 100% of the cases, they'll definitely ask you about your research paper, because they are paying you to be a research student under their head, right? So why will they take you if you are not a person who has done research or who knows the nitty-gritty of the research, right? Because once you start a research, you know that there are several things that you need to keep in your mind, and you need to do it in a particular framework. So if you have the knowledge of that, then I guess a PhD program will be good for you, because it's completely free. Now, as I've got the chance, I'm telling you, it is completely free. The only money that you'll be needing is the flight fare from here to the place where you want to go, and the previous initial application fees, right? Now, the benefits are, if you go into the US now as a student, the chances of getting a job there and retaining your visa is a bit higher. And you can go into any other country bit easily once you get a degree from the States, right? Now, as for the GRE, I would also like to mention that there are different other countries that you can also target. Several of my friends have gone into countries like Italy, Germany, and these are also countries where you can definitely target to go, right? And for them also, for Italy, I'd say GRE is needed. For Germany, GRE is not needed. Something on TOEFL or IELTS are needed. Now, if you have some specific doubts on them, you can definitely write in the comments and I'll answer all of them. Now, disadvantages for MS, the major disadvantage that I've told, that it's a bit costly, right? So if you think that you are capable enough to spend that much, and if you think that that it is okay for you, and you'll get a decent job. It'll not be, you'll be able to pay it off very easily. So if you think that you can get it, then definitely go for it. And for PhD, after your bachelor's, you're about to spend 5 years of your life in a country uh, away from your country. So, and after that, I guess after 5 years of PhD and learning so many things, you would directly not come back to your country. You would like to spend some more years working there, gaining some more experience, right? And thereby again coming back. So that is also something, right? So I've already covered who should go for it and what. And when is the time to prepare, right? So if you're planning to go just after you complete your bachelor's, suppose I'm giving an example that someone is going to complete his bachelor's in 2021 June, right? So if you're planning to go in 2021 August or September, then you need to take your GRE exam something around 2020 October, right? And the TOEFL somewhere around November. That would be the last deadlines, right? Because the application deadlines are mostly around the December time, December 15th mostly. And the applications come somewhere around January and February, the final results, and then you need to do a lot of other processes. And after that, you'll finally go there in September. Okay. But if you are willing to spend one more year doing your own thing, like I did. Suppose I'm giving my example. I'm working in TCS Digital, so I was working there, and parallelly I was doing my GRD preparation. So parallelly, if you are able to do, because GRE is not something which you need to study as much as the GATE exam, like all those subjects, but the approach is something that you need to study on. And if you're going for the PhD or even for the MS, there may be professors who take the interview, and there you need very good knowledge of the electronics domain. So it is not like you do not need electronics knowledge, but it is of a different type of knowledge, right? So there is another aspect again, is GMAT, right? So it is if you want to go for MBA abroad. Now, this is something which is really, really costly, right? The prospects are huge. If you can go for a GMAT to a very good university and can clear it, and if you're able to complete the course out there, it's almost certain that you'll get a very, very good job out there, right? The cost is something around, I'll say, 50 to 60 lakhs out there. And if you think is it worth it or not? If you think that you are a very good MBA student, you have given your CAT and you know that you're really outstanding, and you think that you can get better colleges, that like if you go in a world ranking, there will be some colleges that are definitely better than the IIMs, right? So if you think that you want to give them a try, and if you they are for you, you can definitely go in for that, right? So, and the last one is government jobs, right? So government jobs are something that are the best level of security even nowadays. Now, it is definitely the most secure job. There are different railway sector jobs, banking jobs. There are different opportunities that are coming up. So you can give the examinations from all of them. So is it worth it or not is something that you need to decide, right? Because most of the cases, I would say, like there are different engineering jobs in railways and all. If you get into those jobs, they are mostly not take. They do not mostly take from these, but mostly they take some other examinations, which I heard like something like IES and also. If you go from these examinations and get these jobs, now they are great. But if you go into the government jobs, the pure government jobs that we are talking about, like the banking jobs and all, now most of the cases you would need to leave on the technical ground as well. And the growth scope is, I would not say it's bad, but the learning scope, the learning curve would not be as good as you think. And if you're a person who thinks that you have studied a lot and you just want to work the rest of the time, um, and like I'm not disregarding anybody, but there are people like I am also one of them who sometimes feel that, oh, I do not feel like studying anymore. So uh, yeah, the jobs like these are very convenient, but they are definitely very, very, very difficult to get, right? When to plan for it? You can plan for it when you're in your fourth years, or even while you're working in any other sector. You can definitely plan for it and give the examinations, right? So are you ready for it? That's again that you need to decide based on your personality, based on what you think is right for you. Now I'll come to the questions. I'll just check the questions that are there, that has been written in the comment section. So Ayushman has asked that, is it possible to get into teaching after B.Tech? Now I guess I've answered this question a bit, that getting into being a professor in some very, very good university is a bit tough after directly doing a B.Tech. I won't say it's not possible, but it is tough, right? So you can try into lower universities, or you can even try into some coaching centers and all. You can parallelly go on doing your MTech, and then you can start this if you want to really start a career in this teaching line, right? Now, Aryan has asked that, is it easy to get off-campus placements easy without referrals? Now, reference definitely sometimes do play a role, but at the end of the day, it's you who need to give the interview, and it's you who need to answer the questions that the interviewer is telling, right? So, reference can get you into an interview, but references normally do not guarantee that you'll be selected in that interview, right? There are off-campus placements, pool campusing that occurs in which, in most of the cases, you would not need a reference. You can sit there yourselves, and if you are good enough that you can crack that, not all of the cases do you need references. I guess you can if you can crack it yourself, right? Now, Suchina has asked, what is the best time to start for GATE preparation? I've already mentioned that it is something around the late second years or the early third years that I think would be the best time to start for GATE preparation. Now, it is how can I manage time for simultaneous preparation for GATE and campus placements? So, this is a very good question by Shubhankar. So, this is something that you need to decide initially, right? Like, what do you want? If you want that, you just want to secure any job and then go for the GATE preparation, that is something in which I guess you would not face much of a problem, right? Like what I did initially, or what most of my friends did, like they secured a job in some IT sector, right? Initially, something around the August September time, because to get into an IT sector, if you have some like decent knowledge of coding, would not need very much different preparation. Like it is not like you need to prepare a hell lot of more. You do not prepare a hell lot of more, right? So if you can go into that, if you can prepare a bit, and just secure a job, because I guess if you're going for a gate preparation, or any other gate cat or anything, I would suggest to each of you that you secure a job first, right? Because you do not want to land yourself preparing for an examination, and suppose, God forsake, if you it may be the case that someone can't secure the place, right? So people repeat in year, you can, but for examinations like cat and all, if you give a year drop, now there can be questions raised. So it would be better if you secure a job, you parallelly do the job in that period, right? And then you can you can definitely continue with your preparation along with that, right? So now Nirmal has asked, do good MBA colleges give importance to work experience? Yes, good MBA colleges definitely give a lot of importance to work experience. So if you are trying to go for a good MBA college, there are the MBA colleges, the colleges see a lot of things, right? They see your GPA, they see your work ex, the 10, the 12 scores, they see everything, right? Now, if you have a very, very good GP and if you have got a very good like CAT score, I guess it would not be wise enough to spend 2 years of work experience, or how, or as many years as you think, like to just secure the same seat, right? But if you think that your GPA is compromised a bit, so you may need to give CAT a multiple number of times, and most of the cases, as many seniors have done, or as most of my friends are also planning to do, is that 2 years of work experience counts a lot. 2 years of work experience, normally something I heard is adds to something like 5 points or something. So that is something that you may plan to do. Great. So Aryan has asked, what is better, going for MTech or getting better job, or just working on skills and changing jobs after placement? So this is also something that you need to decide, Aryan, that uh, so why do you want to do MTech in the first place? If you want to, uh, I guess you want to do MTech in the first place to secure a good job, right? Now, if you get a good job, if you get a good job directly in your B.Tech level, right? So I guess in most of the cases it would not be wise enough to waste 2 more years. I'm not saying waste, to like spend 2 more years to get a job of the same caliber, right? Suppose if you end up getting a job something around 12 to 14 LPA, and do you think that it will be wise enough to do 2 more years of master's? Yes, master's degree would definitely count. You'll have a separate degree, but at the end of the day, I guess you'll have that degree to get a job only, right? So that's again something. And for changing jobs after placement, that's maybe you're telling about switching. So people, yes, definitely switch, but it is not like that frequent. Maybe you can switch after 2 years of experience, because normally what people do is, you are in a particular role in the company, right? So you you work for 2 years, you change, you get into a promotion, and after that you just change the company, because after the promotion you'll be receiving some extra incentive, and after that if you change the company you can receive some uh, a lot of increment, right? So that's what majority of the people does. Sachin has also asked, how may one manage time preparing for GATE as well as enrolling for any kind of internship? It is mandatory also in third year. Okay, so yes, there is this mandatory training, but I have heard that this training could also be done during in our days. It was like we have to do it somewhere around my around the sixth and seventh semester. But now I guess the WBUT has changed the rule that we can do it somewhere around my fifth and sixth semester also. Now, again, Suchana, it's something that you need to decide that what would be better for you. Like, if you want to secure a good position in Gate, and you do, because like if you want to secure a good position in Gate and you do not uh, want to invest so much time in training, there are some companies who can give training in a very small period of time. Uh, they can, like, you can do very small amount of work, and then they'll be providing you certificates for your work that you'll be doing. So you can enroll yourself into such type of training if you do not wish to learn a lot from the training sessions. But if you're a person who thinks that, no, I should put this training uh, very seriously, and I want to learn from this training, because if you want to secure a job from this, maybe you want to learn from the training session, right? So uh, maybe you do some coding training, a Python training or something like that. So you can definitely try to do that. So now, yes, this was my suggestion, but ultimately I think that it's up to you. You need to decide that what's your priority list, whether your priority is getting a great job, and whether your priority is getting into the M.Tech, right? So based on that, what you need to do, okay? Ayushman has asked how to get scholarships in MS programs. So Ayushman, basically scholarships directly do not come in MS programs from the US in, like, in I'd say 99% of the cases, right? There are some places, there are some Indian agencies, international agencies also, where you can contact and you can send your profile, and if they are impressed, they may take interviews and all of that, and you can get some help from them, right? Now, if you want to study MS free of cost, I'll not say free of cost, but at a low cost, there is countries like Germany, where the education fees is zero, where you do not need to pay a single penny for studying, right? So you only need to pay your rent, you need to pay the living cost only, right? So you can target countries like that. And if you are really willing to go to US, I would suggest that getting a PhD scholarship is would be a better option. So but that's, again, you need to decide. If you do not want to work in this research area, then doing a PhD would be absolutely a waste of time, right? Now, Uddata had said, how to choose and filter among the universities abroad for doing MS, and what should I work on to be eligible for getting scholarships? Now, this is again something, Uddata, which is a very broad topic to discuss on, as to how to choose among universities, and uh, how to do the selection procedure. As for my part, I would say I had a senior who I call my brother. So he had helped me a lot during this period, and apart from that, I also learned a lot of things that I need to do for that, because like, there are websites. If you could ping me up over mail, I'll give my links on WhatsApp and everything, so you can ping me up there. I'll send you the links. You can try out these websites. You can definitely go there, search for the different universities that are there. You can then thereby go to individual professors and thereby check. It's a tedious process, if you're going for the MS or even the PhD. It's a tedious process, because you need to look through all the universities that are there in the state, and thereby decide that uh, whether you are matching with some research ideas or some work of any of the professor. Because even for the masters, you need to do some thesis, right? Because thesis masters is definitely better. So for that also, you need to work on all of them. Now, this is I could help you personally if you ask me about it, but discussing about this in this call would make this call really, really long. Now, Orko has asked, in GRE, I've seen people scoring very high marks like 340 or 340 in many cases. So, what's the basis on which university or colleges provide scholarship or offer admission? Yeah. So, the universities do not take GRE as the last criteria, right? So GRE is one of the many criteria that they take into consideration. Now, applications when you're doing to foreign universities, they are of several parts, right? So one is your transcript, that is your college marks, your GPA, which is really important. Number two is your GRE score. Number three is your TOEFL score. And number four is your SOP. Like you write a statement of purpose. That's a like 1 or 2 page letter that you write about yourself, where you describe as to how you took up this stream, why you took up this stream, and why you want to pursue your higher education in this stream. You need to express your interest, basically, right? So there are methods in which you need to write your SOP and all. So again, that's some different topic. Now there's also another thing, which is letter of recommendation. So for each university you need to almost give 3 letters of recommendation. So you can get it from your professors. If you're a working professional, you can also get one of them from your office, and also from places where you have done your internships or trainings. So these people need to give a letter of recommendation from their official email IDs of those domains. Suppose you have done a training in the airport authorities of India, right? So some person out there, if you know them, and if you tell them to write an LOR, the letter of recommendation for you, they need to write it from the official domain of the airport authority, like XYZ at the rate maybe aai.com, maybe something like that. Okay, so from there, all these 5 factors usually come together when you're applying for an MS. So even if you get a 340 out of 340 in GRE and your GPA is extremely low, and you have written a very poor SOP, you may get real bad colleges, or you may not get admission into colleges, rather than if a person gets something around 320 or 330 in GRE and has good GPA, and all the other factors are good. So it's basically a accumulation of all the things, right? It's not just the GRE that counts, right? Now, Spandan has asked how to prepare for GATE and GRE at the same time. So, Spandan, this is something which I would say is really difficult if you're planning to do GATE and GRE in the exact same year. Maybe suppose you're trying to appear for GATE suppose the next would be 2021, right? In 2021, January or February, you're trying to appear for GATE. And for GRE, if you plan the same year, it'll be something around, you need to give it a 2020 October. Now that's really tough. That's really, really tough if you want to prepare both of them at the same time. I would suggest that uh, prioritize among them. If you're thinking that you would want to go abroad, then prioritize on the GRE. And suppose in my case, what I did was I tried for my GATE. I cracked it, but I did not get into very good colleges, so I did not go for it. So you can study for the GATE examination. If you crack it, that's very, very good. And otherwise, you can enroll yourself into some job. You can get yourself into some job, and then parallelly go on with your GRE preparation, because your GRE preparation would hardly take something around 2 months, maximum 2 to 3 months to study, and you can definitely do so while you are also in your college, right? And while you're also in your job. So Ayushman asks, how can we do research paper as a B.Tech student? So now there are 2 types of research paper that you can do as a B.Tech student. One is the student paper, but student paper, I guess, would not have much of an impact. So what you need to do is you need to contact professors of your department. You need to go through websites, or if you want to do from external professors, you can also go into different other colleges websites. Like you can go into Jadavpur website, you can go into Shepur website, ISI website. You can go into these websites and check on whether some professor is there, and you can check on the research works whether that interests you or not. You can contact these professors, mail them, right? But yes, this is not something that will happen in a day. You mail them once and they take you like their open arms. That's not something that is going to happen. You need to pester them. You need to go on telling them that you are interested in doing that job. You need to make sure that they understand that you are really interested in doing it, right? So after that, you can get if you get into some professor, under some professor to do that job, and thereby it will be a smooth path. The professor will be able to guide you better than me, right? So Devopriya asks, any idea how much cost it will be for the GRE? So currently that I had given my GRE in October, it was something around 15,000 or 15,500, something like that, right? So you can go into the GRE website, just type in ETS space GRE. You'll be redirected to their official website in the Google link. In Google, the first one would be their website. You can check out their course out there. It's something around 15,000 to 15,500 for GRE, and it is something around another 12,000 or 12,500 for 12, right? Now, Ritankor, okay, Devapriya asks about engineering government jobs other than PSU. Engineering government jobs other than PSU, yeah, there is this examination that I talked about, that is IES, but I would not, uh, I personally do not have very much knowledge about this IES because I did not appear for that. I would not like to shed much light into that because I personally do not have much light to shed. So Deepshika asks, can I prepare both GATE and CAT simultaneously? Now this something is like preparing for engineering as well as medical simultaneously, right? So if you think that you can handle such pressure, if you think that you can handle such pressure, it is only you who can answer whether you can do it or not, right? Now, now that's up to you if you think, but I'll also definitely say that you need to prioritize on what you think is good for you, right? Now, Ayush asks, would you recommend working on high input fields in technology like machine learning and preparing for these exams side by side? Now, these fields, the digital fields that you're talking about, Ayush, the machine learning, Internet of Things, deep learning, and all of these are trending fields in the IT industry today also, right? So, I myself have is working on digital technologies, and yes, the digital technologies are definitely upcoming. And if you're working with my if you're working in these technologies, there is a better chance that you can get into these projects, right? And there is a better chance that you can get into some other companies that do these kinds of work, right? So I would definitely recommend. Why would not I recommend? This would be something that will be really helpful if you work on, uh, but also prepare for these exams side by side. So uh, like, what exam are you especially talking about? If you're talking about GATE, and if you are uh, thinking about learning about machine learning, I would definitely again say that you need to prioritize and think upon yourself as to what you need to what you should do. But definitely learning about these fields would are really interesting and would definitely fetch you good jobs, right? So Ritam asks, how is the work-life balance in generic IT service versus product-based versus startup? Okay, so product-based companies and startups are mostly mostly have the same type of work-life balance. That is, you know, uh, it's a bit chilled out, I would say. So it's not that much pressure that you are having to that you're getting each day. The pressure is bit less, but definitely you can learn a lot because you learn from the scratch. You learn everything because in a small sort of startup or in a product based company, you get the whole overall view. And in the IT sector, you do not get the overall view. You get to work in some particular module. As for work-life balance, that depends from project to project. Now, there are different types of works that you can get in an IT sector. You can get development, you can get DevOps, you can get support, you can get testing, you can get a combination of them. So, and you can get different sorts of advisor. You can get your mentors. There'll be your managers and everyone. So it depends upon all of these conditions as to uh, what your work life balance would be. As for my case, I think that it's a perfect work life balance for me. But you definitely need to know how to balance between them. Now, if you think that there are people who think that it is becoming stressful and not, so do not hesitate. Talk to your manager. Tell that it is becoming hectic, and also, I guess they'll find some way out, right? Is it possible to go for PhD directly after B.Tech? So if you're talking about going abroad PhD, yes. So Ayushman, you replied that. Uh, so yes, that's what I'm going into, a direct PhD. So that's a 5-year program in which the first 2 years will be they'll be doing your MS, and then for the while parallelly working on your PhD, right? And for the last 3 years, it'll be only for my for my PhD, right? So yes, it is definitely possible, but you need to have research papers for that. That is what my suggestion would be. Now, Rajroop has asked that with one journal publication, can I apply for a PhD program? I guess nobody better can answer this question other than you only, Rajroop. So yes, I also have one journal paper apart from some of the conference papers, and yes, I think I made my way through. But you need to have some other you need to be have good GPA scores and all of them, right? So as I mentioned, those five things you need to have them, right? So Spandan asks, can you tell me what technologies do I need to learn to get in TCS as a front-end developer? Okay. So personally, from my end, front-end in TCS is mainly nowadays the work is in like Node, in Angular, in React. Now these are the main things that are coming up. So I would suggest that you start off with Node, Angular, and React are the really new technologies that have come up, and so yeah, having knowledge about them would be a really good idea. And but if you come into TCS, most of the cases they'll teach you how to work on those technologies. But definitely having an earlier domain knowledge would ensure that you are capable enough more, right? So I guess that ends the questions in the chat stream. So I'll just provide you with my contact details. So if you want, you can connect with me over phone, WhatsApp, or email, LinkedIn, any way you wish. And definitely, even after this session, you can send me your questions anywhere, and I'll be happy to answer each and every one of your questions. Right. So that's it from my side, guys. If you have any other questions, please do feel free to ask later. Okay, so one other question has come up. Uddata has asked, is full-time freelancing a good option after the 4 years if someone gathers and masters enough skills? Full-time freelancing as a fresher, I guess it like if you get enough opportunities as a freelancer, you may try that. But I personally, if you ask me personally, I would not say that it is such a good option to go for full-time freelancing because at some time maybe your options have drained out. Now, if you go into some company, they can think that you're a freelancer, so they may consider your application in a different way, right? So yeah, you can definitely try out, and if you try out, do let me know how it turns out to be, right? Yeah, so
Uh,
that's
Hello,
it, right?
Akash. So, we also see that you missed out Shrujana's one question on how to write an SOP.
Okay, so how to write an SOP? Now, that's something that I would say that you need to add your own personal touch into it. You need to write something from your heart. You need to write like how you started as a in the stream that you started on, and leading to all of that, uh, how and why you ended up where you are wanting yourself to end up, right? So if you want to go for an MS, you're going to a particular university to study. You need to go to that university website. You need to study about the professors out there. Maybe you find one professor and find his work interesting. You need to write about him in your SOP. You need to write about everything, like everything that you can in your CV in a essay format. Now, it is not that easy as I'm telling, and it is not as tough that you are thinking. So uh, it can be done if you can write your all your experiences, all your technical experiences, all your volunteering, social experiences, everything that you write in like two sheets of paper, two word pages, right? So it's not tough, and if you have written one, you can definitely show it to me. Maybe I would able to help out correct that, right? Or maybe make that better. Okay.
And we have one last question from Mainak. What are the programming language that I need to learn during my electrical engineering program?
Uh, Firstly, this question, I would like to answer that. Why do you want to learn programming languages when you're doing an electrical engineering? Suppose I get your answer as you want to go into the IT sector, or you think that the IT sector will be a suitable job for you. So think of any domain that you think is good for you. Like maybe you can think if you think that you have good designing skills, you can go for front end development. If you want to go for back end, you can go for back end development. There is like database management. There is there are ample other things. There is data, there is machine learning, data mining, deep learning. There are several things. Like each IT sector, like I personally working in TCS, I know that there are projects happening everywhere. Even drones are being made in Kolkata, right, by TCS. So there are ample opportunities that you can have um, for each of the aspects that you feel like. So uh, pick one topic, learn it well, and make sure that when you're in the interview, you convey it to the person taking the interview, right? So minor ads, maybe it is needed for research. Okay, so are you asking about the programming language that you'll need as a researcher? So for electrical engineering, I'm exactly not sure as to what programming language that you need. That definitely depends on the type of research you're doing. Maybe you're like doing something with data, then maybe you need some knowledge of Python. Maybe you're working with graphs and all. Maybe you're working on a lot of simulation. You need to have knowledge of MATLAB. So it definitely depends on the type of research activity that you're thinking on doing, right? So it is not limited. It is you have unlimited things to learn, and you need to decide that what is best for you, right?
Okay, so Akash, I think we are almost about to conclude this session. Probably there are no more questions. If there is any, we'll hold for a few seconds before if anyone pops up with something. So I think we can wait for the same.
Yeah, sure.
I would really add up one question from my end, which I really get a lot of times, as because you're already out of the engineering field. So how much did you concentrate on competitive programming to get to the position what you are now? This is a burning question that I get every day.
Okay, competitive coding is something that you need to uh, is something that you may consider parallelly from all of these. Like I was talking about front end development, back end development. You talk about, this is all total a different area. Now it is not definitely needed once you join the industry, but to join the industry there are as you must be knowing, Deepan. So there are examinations happening everywhere, and competitive coding uh, is definitely important. I know many of my friends, many, not many, few of my friends who were very very involved in competitive coding, and they have got into good jobs in companies like Infosys, and also they have become power programmers and all out there. So there is some events happening all year round. So Code Vita, Hack with NP, and all of them. So if you can crack these events, so you need to make sure how you want to make the cut. If you want to make the cut through the regular process, if you want to make the cut through the interviewing and all process, so in competitive coding also there is an interview round. But if you want to make sure you want to get in the normal process, then I guess the normal coding skills would be enough. But if you are going into these sorts of processes, like giving these examinations like Code Vita, Hack with NP, there are many other examinations happening on Hacker Rank, Hacker Earth, and all of them. So if you're into these sorts of examinations and you think that you want to get into good companies through them, there is a definitely good chance of getting that, because I know one of my friends who has got into a company where he's getting something around 28 LPA, and he has secured a job by doing competitive coding, right? So the company who was organizing that took his interview afterwards, and thereby took him. So uh, yes, definitely it's an important thing if you want to learn it and are really interested. But before doing competitive coding, I guess you need to learn the basics really really well. You need to make sure that you are more or less accustomed and can solve any problem in ample amount of time. Only then would you be able to uh, start with your competitive coding skills, right?
Okay, thank you for that. And probably one question from Preeti for computer science, which is the best language to learn? This is a very vast question, though.
Which is the best language to learn? So I, I would not say that any language is the best language to learn. All of the languages have their own benefits, and also it definitely depends upon what you are trying to do with that language. Maybe as for the current day, if you're trying to work on things like AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, and all of that, I guess Python is a vast language which has a lot of future. So you can, so if you just wanted to start with a language, I would say that you can start with learning Python. It has Yes, it is definitely a good language. I would not say it's the best language because there are different other languages, and every language has its own benefits and disadvantages. So yeah, you can start off with Python um, as a starter, maybe.
Okay, Preeti, I would like to just Akash, I'd like to add 2 points to this for just a question of Preeti. If you just follow the trend every 10 years, this best language thing goes around and round. So being good in something is very temporary thing. So you have to continue learning whatever you are in, because Python is already a vast language, as Akash pointed out. It will be better that if you keep track of what is in the trend and what is important by following the latest updates. Okay, Ayushman has another question too.
Can I get into research work as a full stack web developer? I always receive such vibe that full stack web development is just for making products. There is no research outlet to this. So I would not say that there is no research outlet to this. Now if you think of coding languages, this React, this language was invented or maybe made by 2 or 3 people in the year 2015-16, right? So definitely that's a result of some research work only, right? I would not call it front end research work, but it's a research work that's being done to like alleviate the problems that are faced by the earlier languages. So there is definitely research work which is ongoing in these fields, right? So uh, we can definitely try out research work out there. But Ayushman, as per like as far as I think that you uh, are an electronics student, so getting into a research.
He's from CAC actually.
Okay, so you're from C. So yeah, if you're from CSE, it won't be a problem to get into research work of front end development. So you can what I'll say is the best thing to do. Is log into sites like IEEE Explore. You can log into different college websites. You can log into their. You can tune into their professors. You can see that how what type of research they are doing. Maybe you'll definitely be able to find some front end research out there, and you can think of your own research ideas from them, right? You can get your ideas from there, definitely.
Okay, so I guess there's just one question from Rita Ankor. If you do like to see that.
Is it okay to take antenna theory in the sixth sem? So if you are in deep love with Maxwell, then you definitely can.
So I guess we are done with all the questions. I think we can go up for the conclusion. So Akash, just a short brief of how would you like a first year or second year who, just in a small note, anyone who is interested to go for a job, what should be their perspective after B.Tech? As because you know the condition of jobs in Kolkata is not really very good. So what
Uh,
will be the a small conclusion note or tip for the first and second years, how to plan their next 2 or 3 years of career for getting a proper job?
Okay, so if you're planning to work in Kolkata, and as you know, the job scenario in Kolkata is mostly IT based, right? So, being an IT professional myself, I'll just conclude by saying how to that what the work life is like in an IT company and what you need to do as to get out here. So, it's not that bad. It's definitely not that bad. People think that work is like you need to do very hard job. People will curse you all the time. People will whatever you do, even if you do it rightly, people will say it's bad or not. It's not like that. It's like people become friends after some months. People, even if you're friends with your seniors, you can talk about anything with them. So it's a very good culture, but yes, you need to work for that. And it's not like that you're only having chit chat with your senior. You need to complete your work, and after you're done with your work, you can do anything you want, right? And as for first second years, what you should do, you should definitely focus on your studies. But I would not say that not focusing on extracurricular activities. You know that in my college years as well, I used to do my studies, and parallelly I was the chairman of my IEEE student body. So uh, I was organizing different activities. I was doing my research work. I was doing these extracurricular voluntary activities and all. And so, I made sure that I was having a part of each of the cake, and so that I could make sure that which cake is the tastiest, and I could go out there. So I would just like to conclude by saying that make sure that you try everything out, so that you know that what you need to do. Maybe you're not confident enough with one thing, but who cares? It's your life. You need to take that decision. You need to make sure that you do it your way, not thinking what people think about you, but thinking that what it can land you through. Maybe you'll find a hidden talent when you do that, and maybe that is something that you may want to pursue, right? So yeah, that's it. That's my conclusion that I would like to say.
Okay, Mr. Akash, so just one last thing, like I'm just taking up some few questions that I get from this juniors. There are lot of them are really interested into research work. So, and the first thing, as I know, and you also told a little bit back, that the first thing is finding up a professor or finding up a research topic. So, will you
Right.
enlighten them the what are the basic steps that they should keep in mind while doing the search for research work?
Okay, so like if you like, do not. The first step that I would tell you that do not go for a research work just because you think that you need to do a research, right? Because just because that of the concept that I want to do a research, I have to do a research. Do not go for that because you won't love that, right? And if you don't love a research work, because it's not a research thing is not something like it's a 45 minutes 50 minutes class, somehow it gets over. It's not like that. It's something that you need to think about every time you get stuck in a problem. You think about it all of the time. You try to find a solution to that, and it's not limited to just the time you're there in college. Maybe you're coming home from college, you think about that, you get a solution. You think about that, you do it the next day. It comes up, it does not come up, maybe. There are moments which are frustrating, but yeah, you need to first make your mind that you need to do the research, and after that, if you have made your mind, there are some topics that you may find good. So maybe you're studying in your curriculum, there is a topic X, Y, and Z. You find the topic Z is interesting to you, whereas the topic X and Y are not. Maybe I, from my college days, I would say that I never found communication interesting. And so the question that someone asked about antennas, as per my side, I would have never taken antenna theory because I did not find all the topic interesting, right? So maybe some of you, there were students who, there were my friends who found that topic very interesting. Solving Maxwell's equations was very interesting for them. So you need to distinguish between what is interesting for you and what is not. And after you have made your decision as to what is interesting for you, try to find out professors who work in that. Now, how to find out those professors? You can log into your for your own department. You can go to your professors and make sure you know that what they are working on. And for Kolkata for students in KGEC, I would also say that there you can go into colleges like Jadavpur website. You can go into ISI, college like ISI, their website. These CU, Calcutta University. You can go into these college websites and check out the professors out there. Check out their works, and if you think that the work interests you, you can mail them. You can mail them definitely. You can mail them multiple number of times if they do not respond, because you know the professors are definitely busy. Or maybe maybe if they are not if they're not doing something, maybe they forgot to open your mail. So you can definitely try to reach out to them, and maybe reach out to them in person. I had some of my friends who had done various research works. One of my friends, he's currently working in a startup. So he had done research work. One of them was in Jadavpur University, and one of them was in IIT Kharagpur. So he was a person who used to mail constantly. Sorry. So he used to like give his best efforts um, in getting that place. Sorry. So you can continue. You can search out like that, and after you search out the professor, I guess the rest would be from the professor's part, right?
Okay, so I guess that ends all the questions and all the conclusions too. I'd really thank you for joining us for the session and giving a valuable time. I and my entire club I'm really grateful for such a productive webinar. I would like to have you more and more in some more sessions too. Thank you again on behalf of DC-KGEC. I
Thank
thank
you.
Mr. Akash Roy for joining, and thank you for all the enthusiastic participants who have been a part of this productive discussion. Good night.